Before we continue, I want to introduce the definition. And please make sure to write these on your notes. An extraneous solution, or extraneous solutions, are solutions that when you check them, provide a false statement. And we're going to look at an example here. Example 3. What is the solution of the square root of 7, the square root of x plus 7 minus 5 equal to x? And I wrote it right here. Again, we want to isolate the square root, and we want that to be our very first step. So we're going to add these minus 5 to both sides to accomplish that isolation. And what we should have is on the left hand side, this cancels out. That's the whole purpose why we do it. We should have x square root of x plus 7, and since the x and the 5 are not like terms, we leave them separate. Okay, so all we did was isolate the radical. So next, how do I get rid of this index 2 radical? The correct answer is I raise it to the exponent of 2. Oh, sorry guys, I made a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to have square root of x plus 7 is equal to, and what I do to one side, I do to the other side. Notice that we have to raise all of the left-hand side to the power of 2. Over here, things become very easy because I know that this exponent and this index cancel out, so I'm left with an x plus 7. Over here, however, I have x plus 5 times x plus 5 because that's what that means. And if you remember from the previous unit, when we dealt with quadratics, there's a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to do it the way that I think most of you understand it. And x times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x, positive. Positive 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 5 is 25. Right? 5 times 5 is 25. So here we have x plus 7 equals x squared. We're going to add these two over here, and we should get 10x plus 25. I'm going to move these guys over here. And how do I accomplish that? I'm just going to do minus x. I'm going to line it up with the x's. And minus 7, I'm going to line it up over here. So what I'm going to have left is, and I'm actually going to flip this from the left side. This side I'm going to put it first. X squared plus 9x plus 18 is equal to 0 because everything cancels out here. Then the question is, how do I solve this? Pause it for a minute. I did a little bit of the scratch work to show you and remind you. This is from the previous section when we factored. What we wanted to do to solve this quadratic was find the factors that make this trinomial. We broke it down into x squared into x and x. 18 we can break it down into 3 and 6 to get the 9. 18 is positive, so it's the 9. Hopefully you guys remember this. If not, please let me know and I'll make a video. So from there we obtain x plus 3 times x plus 6 equals 0, which allows us to conclude that x plus 3 equals 0, which means that x equals negative 3, and x plus 6 equals 0, which lets us know that x equals negative 6. Okay, so far we've only solved for this. I'm going to go ahead and check for these. And if you want to challenge yourselves, I'm going to ask you to pause it now and try it yourself. I'm going to take each one of these x's and plug it in to the original equation. So I'm going to take negative 3 plus 7 minus 5 equals x, which is negative 3. So negative 3 plus 4, I did it again. Negative 3 plus 7 equals 4 minus 5 should equal negative 3. 2 is my solution here, then I have minus 5, and I do in fact get negative 3. So negative 3 equals negative 3, so this is true. This answer, as far as I know, is correct. So let's go ahead and check the next one. Let's say that I do the same thing. I do negative 6 plus 7 minus 5 should give me, in this case, negative 6. Negative 6 plus 7 is 1. Minus 5 equals negative 6. So square root of 1 is just 1 minus 5 equals negative 6. Over here, however, I get a negative 4, which is not equal. It's not equal to negative 6. So my extraneous solution would be negative 4. And the only solution here would be negative 3. Because as we saw, negative 6 doesn't work.